One of the other bigger questions that I doubt anybody has an answer to, but a lot of conversations about how this is going to impact, to what degree this is going to impact funding available from the state to support the ed fund, and what does that leave us with on our
Well, yeah, I mean, not to jump too far ahead, but my guess is if we are entering into, it would be naive to think that we're not going to enter into some type of recession from this.
right.
We see where the stock market has gone. We see the number of people who are, either furloughed or unemployed for a period of time. So, those are revenues the state is not collecting.
Right.
So, your ed fund will have to, be made up through property taxes eventually over the next couple of years, barring any federal. I know we did get some federal aid and such, and I'm not sure how much that will go in the ed fund. So, I mean, you've always had a very supportive town. Unfortunately, you do have a couple of things that are happening over the next few years. We already did talk about, your CLA is going through reevaluation,
Right.
home prices and everything. So, I think we'll be fine next year. We do have monies that we did push forward. You did pass a very responsible budget, and also don't forget in that budget that the town passed. We did put an extra $100,000 in there that we did plan to use for building maintenance and that type of stuff. I mean, nobody likes to defer maintenance, but we could always defer maintenance if we do start running deficit next year. I think people probably should start looking in fiscal year 2022 that there probably will be, I don't know what significant means, but there will be a property tax increase. You do have, that's a long ways off. The town had a very steady, we've had 2 years of tax, slight, but 2 years of tax decreases. That's probably not going to be the case for the next couple of years, with 2022 probably having some type of larger tax increase than people have anticipated. But, I think, the boards can start telling people that now and getting ahead of it. And, the town's always been very supportive to the schools. And it's also kind of the usual way Vermont education funding works, that every 4, 5, 6 years, you just have one of those years where things come together and you kind of have a tax rate that resets.
Okay. But in terms of I mean, obviously districts across the state have approved budgets. So
Yeah.
Those have been approved by the voters. The plan for next year has been built based on that budget. But if there becomes indication from the state that we need to adjust our local spending.
No, that can't occur. What would occur, unfortunately, is they can just reset the property tax rate. So,
Okay.
so if the state said that would be beyond our control, and they usually do it anyways, but it's in such little increments, nobody notices.
Right.
So if the ed fund did become such of a deficit last year, they can't reset, they can't come back and say, okay, we need to claw back money from the school systems. What they would say is, we are going to reset what they call the property yield. And then the property yield would then have, they could raise your taxes by whatever the pleasure of the state legislator was.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to read a lot of the commentary on Vermont Digger in particular about people who think this is the opportunity for schools to reevaluate how they spend, and this is going to cut back on spending, and just a very unrealistic sense of what it's taking to accomplish all that is on the plate of the schools right now.
Yeah.
None of this is costing anybody less.
Yeah, I mean, your money is in the bank, if you will. You passed the budget last March, and you passed the budget going forward. So this would probably absolutely not be the time to take a objective look at school spending. I mean, we don't usually, I will call this a crisis. I don't think anybody would disagree.
Right.
It's not the time to be looking at anything objectively during a crisis.
Yep.